Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to my live. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Call a friend, get a piece of paper, join the live. It's a beautiful day. It's nice and sunny and windy here in our North Carolina region. All right. So, hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to my kitchen. I am Chef Natalie of ElegantlyRaw Cuisine, Doctor of Clinical Nutrition and Functional Medicine. I'm so happy you're joining me today, and I want to say an extra welcome for those who are new to my live. And we are doing a 21 days of Elegantly Raw Cuisine, raw breakfasts. I know it's always a challenge to find raw ideas for breakfast. It's either you do fruits, or either you do a salad, or you do a juice, or either you do a smoothie. But here in my 20-day raw foods, I don't think I've made a smoothie as yet or a salad. So I will be teaching you nutritious, hormonal healthy, cellular regenerating breakfast ideas so that you can have a satisfying breakfast and regenerate your body while eating raw living foods. We believe at Elegantly Raw Cuisine that health begins in the cell. We believe that food is medicine, and medicine should be your primary food. And we should turn to food as our first choice for healing the body. We believe also that if you prepare raw living foods in the right way, it is the best nutrition for your cells to regenerate and thrive and be healthy. So come on in, and while you're calling your friends and getting your pens and paper to take notes, I'll put my gloves on and we'll get started. All right, so I am excited that today is, I think it's day 7 of our 21-day challenge. And if you haven't seen the previous recipes, please go check my archives or my playlist for 21 days of raw. We've made golden milk. We made carrot pecan porridge. We have also made a mint cantaloupe soup. We have done Indian style scrambled eggs, and we have a few more days to go. And I have to, come up with all these wonderful ideas for making these nutritious breakfasts. So keep me in your prayers. All right. So let's get started. Our recipe today is the Elegantly Raw red pepper tomato basil soup. Let me say that again. The recipe for today is our Elegantly Raw red pepper tomato basil soup. It's a very simple soup, and I love this soup. And some people eat 2 meals a day. Some people eat 3 meals a day. And we know that the last meal of the day should be light, more like a fruit, because a fruit is easy to digest. All right. So with this recipe, you can have it for lunch. You can have it for breakfast. I usually have it for breakfast because it's very filling, because I include some natural healthy fats in this recipe. All right. So if you're following along with me, I did leave the recipe ingredients for you to grab this morning. So if you're following along with me, don't worry if you miss a step. You could always go back and look at the video and pick up where you left off. So for this recipe, you will need an avocado. The avocado is going to give you the healthy fat in this recipe, and it's also going to provide a function. It's going to provide that creaminess without using nuts. So if you have an allergy to nuts or seeds, this recipe is for you. We are not using any nuts or seeds in this recipe. And it's a very pleasant break from nuts and seeds, because we have been using nuts and seeds in our past recipes. So today we're going to get our fat from a beautiful avocado. And the next thing you'll need for this recipe would be your red pepper, your red bell pepper, because it is a red pepper tomato recipe. And then you would need some tomatoes, 2 medium-sized tomatoes, and 1 medium to large bell pepper. I just want to say we're not using the whole avocado. We're just only going to use what we need. And what we're looking for in the recipe is enough avocado to make the recipe creamy. We don't need to put extra, just enough. All right. We'll also need salt to bring out the flavors. I always like to put herbs in my raw foods because we know that when we say we want to use food as healing, it includes plant-based food as well as the herbs, because the Bible talks about the herbs are for the healing of the nation. So don't do raw foods without including your fresh herbs. Sometimes we can't get fresh herbs and we have to use dried, and that's okay. But today we're using fresh basil, and I would love to say it came from my garden, but when it gets warmer, I'll be saying it came from my garden. But it was freshly purchased from a plant from the store. So, all right, I hope you have all your ingredients. So once we're done, as usual, it's not elegantly raw until we plate the food, and we'll plate the food because I know we eat with our eyes, and we at Elegantly Raw love to give you food that is visual appealing and it just looks yummy before you even taste it. All right. So, all right, so let's begin. Now, we're not adding any water to this recipe. The food, the ingredients, especially the bell pepper and the tomatoes, they are a very high % water-based content. So we don't need to add liquid to this recipe. We are using it just as the recipe is. We may need a plunger for the food, for the blender. Let me just grab it really quick. Hold on there. So we may need this to push down the pepper against the blade. All right, so let's get started. So for the first thing we're gonna add the tomatoes, because the tomatoes, I think, has the most water content. And we're gonna use the tomato as a base for the recipe. Because this is raw, I use the seeds and everything in here. So just drop that right in there. I'm just taking off the top. We know that tomatoes are rich in lycopene, and I know there's a whole controversy about whether we get lycopene from cooked tomatoes or we get it from raw tomatoes. But my view is you get lycopene from the tomatoes when it is cooked by the sun. However, if you feel you want to use tomatoes specifically for the lycopene content and you want to keep it raw, I suggest you use a dehydrator and you put the tomatoes in there and let the tomatoes warm up in there. You add some type of fat. It could be avocados, it could be olive oil, it could be coconut oil, because the fat will help the lycopene be more absorbable for the person that you're going to use that with. So that's a way to keep the tomatoes raw, but still get the lycopene content from the tomatoes, okay? So I solved the whole confusion around whether we should eat it raw or we should eat it cooked to get lycopene from the tomatoes. All right, so drop the tomatoes in here. We don't want to have chunky onions bits in our soup, so we're gonna blend these up with the tomatoes, because the tomatoes will provide a lot of liquid once we start blending it. All right, so let's just crush our garlic. We know that our garlic is antimicrobial and it's very healing for a lot of illnesses. You know, you have the cold, you can use garlic. And you always want to use these herbs and spices in your food to help build up your immune system and be proactive about health rather than reactive, okay? So dropping the garlic in there, and we'll do a pinch of salt to help the these items just break down a little bit and spring more liquid. All right. And for the pepper, we're also going to add the pepper, but we're not adding the entire pepper. We want to leave half of the pepper to add to the end so that we can get some texture in the soup. We want to make sure that when you eat things like soup or drink juices or smoothies, there's some texture in the soup or the juice, so that you can chew and activate your digestive enzymes so that it can help break down the food and help to extract the nutrients that your body can absorb. So we'll leave half of the pepper to put in later, and we'll put the next half in the recipe. All right, perfect. Now we're not going to add the basil as yet, because if I put the basil in now, the soup would not be a red pepper soup, it will be a green pepper soup. So we'll leave this at the end to pulse in at the end instead of blending it smooth. All right, and then we'll add the avocado to the end as well. So let's blend this to get this to a liquid consistency, and then we'll add the rest. All right. may not need my plunger. We'll see. Okay, that looks nice and smooth to me right there. Now, I would say this is a 1 serving because I can eat the whole thing. But I mean, if you want to put more on this, you can add, double the recipe. All right, so now we blend that. It's smooth. I'm going to add my avocado. You don't want to over blend the avocado because the avocado can get. Now let me make sure my avocado is good, because yesterday I purchased an avocado and it was bad. So let's cross our fingers here that this is a good avocado. Oh my goodness. Bingo! Yesterday I had wrong avocado. I almost cried. All right, so we're gonna add the avocado. You just take it off. So maybe like this, or maybe that. I think like for this size of avocado, we took it, cut it in half, and then we cut it in quarters. So this might be enough to make it nice and thick, right? Quarter of it, I guess, right in there. All right, so now we're just gonna blend this to make it nice and thick. We don't want to over blend the sorry, my phone is ringing. We don't want to over blend the avocado to make it nice and creamy. Oops. All right, so you can see here that it's very thick. See, it's thick. Oops, right? So now with the thickness, I like to taste it at this point, because once we put the basil in there, you can't blend it again. So now you want to taste the recipe and make sure that the recipe tastes the way you want it. Now, I'll tell you something about raw foods. Raw foods, sorry about that. Raw foods can taste different in New York. It can taste different in North Carolina, because the way the tomatoes might grow in New York and the way the tomatoes may grow in North Carolina may be different. My tomatoes in North Carolina might be sweeter because it's exposed to more sun. Yours in New York may be a little bit more acid or tart because you don't have a lot of sun. So you need to know how to adjust the flavor. So if it's a little tart, you may want to add more bell pepper, or you may throw half of a date in there to kind of take the acid off of the recipe, right? If it's a little too sweet for you here now in North Carolina, I might put a little squeeze of lemon juice to just balance it off. Right? So you can adjust based on when you taste it, how you feel it tastes, right? So I'm going to taste mine now and let you know if we need to adjust it. All right? Let's see. It's good. It has enough salt. The garlic is coming through because I put about 3 cloves of garlic in there. So if you like a lot of garlic, you can put more. So I think this is perfect. So now what I'm going to do is put in the avocado. Sorry, we put the avocado in already. Sorry, I'm going to pulse in the bell pepper, right? And then we'll add the basil. All right, so just let me give it a rough chop. All right, so let me just pulse this in here. So we keep the texture. All right, no subtle blending. So now let's add the fresh basil. All right, so I don't know if you know that basil helps to heal the cell lining. So if you don't like basil, you need to love basil. Now, it helps to heal the cell lining. It's great for the brain and for the neurons. It helps support brain health and help with reducing brain fog, and increasing focus. So if you don't like basil, you need to love basil now. All right. All right, so let's pulse the basil in there. All right. All right, so I'm not blending it because I don't want it, I don't want my soup green. All right, that's it. That recipe was quick and easy, wasn't it? And it's delicious. It's packed with nutrients. It's alive. It's going to heal the cell. It's going to heal the cell walls. It's great for the prostate because it's rich in lycopene. And if you have a dehydrator, you can warm the soup up in your dehydrator so you can enjoy the soup a lot warmer. And then we have the bell peppers in here, which helps to protect your DNA from damage. It's very anti-inflammatory. And as I say all the time, the call to action is to eat more living foods. Eat more anti-inflammatory foods. Nourish your cells with foods from nature. Eat a medicinal diet, an elegantly raw living food medicinal diet. So now let's plate our dish since we're finished preparing it. All right. Okay. I cannot see the comments, so I hope they're all good. So here we have a beautiful bowl here. Hope you can see. All right, here's a beautiful bowl. And as usual, we at ElegantlyRaw I take pride in presenting my food in the most yummiest way. So you can eat with your eyes. So I'm going to plate this now. All right. So this is, I think, just enough for one person. So if you want more, or if you're going to feed a family, you can just double up on the recipe, okay? All right. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So now we are going to add a little bit of mac cream. We're just going to add a little bit of mac cream here, all right? So that you can enjoy the recipe. So give a little visual appeal. Oh, you guys, you can't see what I'm doing in there, can't you? Oh, I need an overhead camera. Pray for me to get an overhead camera so you can see what I'm doing in the recipe. All right, so I was just adding some cream. I'll bring it closer in a minute. Okay. And you can also sprinkle this with a little bit of pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds on top if you like. And there you have it, our elegantly raw red pepper tomato soup. And I'm going to bring it closer so that you can see the soup itself. See it? Can you see it? Right, this is beautiful. Now we're gonna have this. I'm so sorry you can't enjoy it with me. So can you see it? If you can, let me see in the chat if you can see it. I can see the chat now. Yeah, all right, wonderful, wonderful. So yes, you can enjoy this for a breakfast meal or lunch meal with some raw crackers if you have it, or maybe next to some zucchini noodles if you like. And maybe one day I'll show you how to make raw breads and stuff, and you can enjoy with some raw bread. But thank you so much for joining my my live, and I look forward to seeing you in another live shortly. So if you're interested in trying my recipes, go back and see the previous videos, and then start jumping in each day and see what I make and try it, and just post under the video. Let me know if you're trying it, if it was delicious, if you have questions. And I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much for joining the live. Bye.